Gimel Amud Bais. Is that what I said?
Yeah, no.
Gimel Amud Bais. The David Miyavi Yada. And it's must be about 11 lines up. 13 lines up. The line starts Nesha, at least in my Gemara. So we mentioned that David HaMelech would wake up by midnight, and he was definitely up by midnight, but he was possibly up before that as well. Or maybe there was a difference between did he switch what he did? He learned Torah until midnight, and then after that he seriously Okay. So we ask now, did David Miyavi Halga Delela Emas? Did David really know when midnight is? Hashta Moshe Rabbeinu Le'aviyada. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't know when midnight is. Because Moshe tells Pari in that Hashem is going to come about Chatzos, like approximately Chatzos, at midnight, approximately about midnight. My Kachatzos. Why is he saying Kachatzos? Kachatzos means like approximately. Approximately midnight is going to be the plague of the first one. Is it possible that the Eibishter himself said Kachatzos? Is it that Hashem doesn't know the time when exactly midnight is? Rather, Hashem said at midnight. And Moshe Rabbeinu came, and he said approximately midnight. Why? Alma Misafkalei. Because he had a doubt. Did David have a yada, and David was able to tell when midnight is? Tosfos mentions that, look, even if Moshe Rabbeinu has a doubt, he can still tell them Bachatzos at midnight, because that's what Hashem said. He doesn't want to say anything that he won't be able to prove himself.
So he doubted the baby, so he doubted when midnight is.
He didn't be able to confirm it. He didn't know when midnight is. So David just said it's going to be at midnight.
So he doesn't have to know when midnight is.
Yeah.
David told him he has to remember. It's
right.
Be midnight.
So
maybe he learned from Moshe Rabbeinu's problem with coming down.
No,
timing.
David told him midnight. He has to just go based on midnight.
Right. So that's Tosfos' question. Tosfos says the Yishleimar, he didn't want to tell them something that he wouldn't be able to confirm.
In other words, if it's a minute after midnight.
It's a minute after midnight.
So then he's not trusting David.
No. When he was giving over the message, he wanted to be able to say it in a way that he can confirm that what he's saying is what is accurate. But if he himself isn't able to confirm that, so he didn't want to say that. Now the interesting thing here is that it shows you how people relate to miracles. Someone that doesn't believe in the Eibishter. So look, there's a plague in Egypt. It happens 12:01. They say, you see, you got it wrong. It's really not. It's really, you see, it's not that. It's like
the normal commentary is that he didn't trust the Egyptians to get it right.
Yeah, that's what shortly. That's another chapter. Here we're asking, how does David know if Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't know? Okay, but yes, the issue that we're bringing up here is a real issue, that he could have said it over in the name of the Eibishter without having to confirm anything. But Tosfos is saying they didn't want to do that. So the Gemara answers, David Simana Havalei. David had a sign, a technique. The Amar Rab Acha Bar Bizna, Amar Rab Shimon Chasida, Kinar Hayatale Lamayla Mimitasi Shel David. David had a harp. Doesn't seem like it's a harp.
It's a harp.
We translate kinar as a harp, but as you're going to see, this seems to be a wind instrument, not a harp is a string instrument. So, when it became midnight, a north wind came, then it blew on it, a Menachem and it would play melodies. Miyad.
Like wind chime, there was a harp that wasn't connected to the bomb.
Uh-huh.
And his wind chime hits the
Right.
chime.
Miyad hayayim advaisik b'Torah. Sorry?
Mouth harp.
Right. Oh, is
No.
that such a thing? A mouth harp?
Yeah.
No, I'm saying the regular harp that wasn't attached to the bomb was attached like wind chimes. And when the
Or are
wind
you
came
playing
in,
a harp like a piano? You're going like this with a piano.
I'm just
Take it
showing
away.
the wind. For
Take
any
it
wind
something
chime.
that only he could hear, or something that anyone who was
Very good. Very interesting question. It's a very good, interesting point. Give me a second now. Miyad hayayim advaisik b'Torah ad she'yala amud hashachar. He would immediately get up and study Torah until amud hashachar. This sort of is different than what we learned before. We learned that he was Isaac the series for Brachos. There's a difference here in what he did. And Kivan Shalom Shachar Nichnasu Chachmi Yisrael. Leslie, once it became dawn, then the sages of Israel came in. And just 1 second, let's pause here for a second. The Ben Ish Chai and the Sefer Ben Yehuda, he adds sometimes a little Kabbalah into the Gemara. So he says that the Kinar is a Chavav Ner. It's 26. It's a shine from the Shem Havaya. And he's talking about the Ruach Shvinus is a hidden, suffering is a hidden, suffering means something that's concealed. And he's mixing this into a concept of Tikkun Chatzos, of Tikkun Leah. There's two parts to Tikkun Chatzos, Tikkun Rachel and Tikkun Leah. He's associating it with Tikkun Leah. And so back to this. Who was hearing this? It's very possible that this was something higher. The other question, the basic question here is, Moshe Rabbeinu couldn't have gotten a harp and hung it up and listened to the harp. I mean, that's like we're missing the point of it here. The technology was only developed 480 years later, right? That's so there's a Rashi in Yomi that says that once after Makas B'chayres, that's when the Ruach Tzvaynis started. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't have the Ruach Tzvaynis. It only started after Makas B'chayres. Okay, so that really answers the question of why did Moshe Rabbeinu not have it? Because events change.
Especially when
A north wind.
The climate change.
Right.
In a way.
No, that's what it is. Climate change. So okay. So now at dawn, Amrulai, the people come in. They say to David, Adinenu HaMelech, our master king, Amchi Yisrael Tzichem Parnasa. Your nation Israel needs sustenance. Amrulahem said to them, L'chu v'nesparnas zemizel, let them go do business. This could be associated with the halacha that if there's a Jew that's the same thing that you can get from a Jew or from a non-Jew, you get it from a Jew, unless there's a big loss.
you can write off the extra amount as nice already.
Oh, really? It says unless it's a very big loss, then you're not obligated to take a big loss. But otherwise, if it's a small amount, you're supposed to get it from a Jew. So do business with each other. Someone told me that Amchi Yisrael Tzichem Parnasa is Rosh Hashanah's pizza, and that's like referring to the pizza shop. Okay. Amrulai, they said that's not going to help because a handful cannot nourish a lion, can't fill up a lion. So whatever this is referring to, who's the Ari, and also and the pit cannot be filled up with the dirt that you take out of it. So if you dig a pit and then you put the dirt on the side and you try to fill the pit up again, it won't be enough dirt to fill it up. So here, what are we doing? We're taking from one and filling up the other, but it's not going to fill up. We need more than that. Amalahem, l'chu pashti yedechem b'gdud. Says go to war. Get the troops out. Go do this. The troops. The Ben Yehuda discusses here that in the word "gedud" is the word that's the name of David. Mr. Shrink talks about Gimel Davids, that there's some Malchus, David Shalamata, David Shalamayla. Well, it shows you that everything here that we're learning has Kabbalistic interpretation. Okay, but it could be halachically an interpretation here is why the people coming in before Shachris is because he's supposed to give tzedakah before Shachris. Right, they're coming in early in the morning, right at dawn. So miyad yayitzim, right away they take advice. Achi Teifel was the advisor, and he would give the strategy. And Menachem Sanhedrin, and they ask the Sanhedrin if it's okay. And then they ask the Urim V'Tumim, which is the breastplate of the Kohen Gadol. I say this is how you're supposed to do business. First you ask the business, the strategy, people that know the business. Then you have to ask the Rav if it's acceptable. Maybe if there's ribbis or other things, asagas kavol. And then you go have to ask the bracha. Okay.
That would not after that, but that would say you didn't have to be there. You go and then ask.
I hear. We'll rewrite this. Amar Rav Yosef Mikra. What's the pasuk that says this? That this is the way that they did it. It says V'achri Achi Teifel. After Achi Teifel Benaya ben Yayada. Actually, the pasuk says Yayada ben Benaya, but we'll leave that. That's a Tosfos up here that discusses that. But Rav Yasser V'sar Tzval Melech Yayav. So there's Achi Teifel, there's Benaya ben Yayada, there's Rav Yasser who's the high priest. He has the Urim V'Tumim, and then there's the general. There's Yayav. Achi Teifel is a Yayetz. Achi Teifel is the advisor. Chaha Aminan, I guess. Batas Achi Teifel asher yotz b'yam mehem kasher yishal ish b'dvar halikim. Benyo ben Yaya. No, b'dvar halikim. Okay, that's the. Here we say that the advice of Achi Teifel that was in those days that they when they would ask from the man of God. Okay, now, Benio ben Yayada is a Sanhedrin. He was the head of the Sanhedrin. He was Av Bezdin. The Rav Yasser and Rav Yasser, the Kohen Gadol, is Urim V'Tumim. Benio ben Yayada al hakresi v'al haplesi. We're translating the word al here as before. Benio ben Yayada, because the head of the Sanhedrin came before the crazy and the placey, which is the Urim V'Tumim, as we'll explain in a minute. Usually, crazy and placing the pshat is the archers and the different types of equipment that was used in war. But here we're saying crazy and placing is the Urim V'Tumim. Why are they called the crazy and placing? So it says crazy shekarsim divrayim. The Urim V'Tumim, the breastplate, was called crazy because the words were decisive. Karas is to cut. It's decisive. And placey, why is it called placey? Shemaflam b'divrayim, because they were wondrous.
Okay.
Good morning.
Is it like Paltia? No, it's not Paltia. Paltia.
You like Palti ben Lion?
What does the word mean?
Oh, placey just means that it's the shirish would be the pay and the lamed, and we add an aleph and that's Pelech.
Alti was should have been young.
Right. Palti. There was a Palti there, but then there was another Palti.
Wasn't there
Yeah. Okay. So we where do we get this from? We get this from the word Beniyah al Akresavel, place that he came first. And afterwards came
2 men in morning to finish food and drink.
And afterwards they went to the general to go to war. Okay. We have to go back to what we're discussing over here, that David HaMelech woke up by Chatzos. What's the pasuk that says this? It says, Ura Kvaidi, awake my honor, which means my soul. Ura Nevel V'chinar, awake the harp and the lyre. Ayira Shachar, I awake the dawn. Yitzi. The Ira Shach, I Wake the Dawn. That was it's his first video with the. Okay, this is where it comes from. Okay, Reb Zera says we again back to the question.
Yes, you were mentioning.
Okay, we mentioned over here that if Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't know when Chatzos is, how does David know when Chatzos is? So we said first the answer was that David had a harp. Reb Zera says Moshe Loilam Haviyada. Really, Moshe knew. The David Nami Haviyada, and David also knew. Given the David Haviyada, and so if David knew Kino Lamalei, why did he need the harp? And so that's Lesuri Mishnase to wake up. He needed the. In other words, if he was up, he could have recognized when midnight is. But he needed the alarm clock to wake him up. Even the Moshe Haviyada Lamalei Lameimar Kachatzos. If Moshe knew, why does he have to say about Chatzos approximately? So here's the answer. This is the answer. Moshe Kasavar. Moshe thought Shemayitu it's Dagnini Paray. Maybe the stargazers of Paray don't know. They'll make a mistake. The Yemmer Moshe Badoihu, and they'll say that Moshe is a liar. See, he's a minute off. So the Amar Mar, because Master taught this quoting from Masechtas Derech Eretz. Lamed l'shein chalay mareini yedeya. You should train your tongue to say, I don't know. Shema tisbade v'teyachis, maybe you'll get entangled in deceit or mistake. Now, he's not saying he doesn't know because he doesn't know, but the entangled part is that it could cause problems if the other person thinks, if the other person doesn't know, you end up in trouble because he's making mistakes. So here, Moshe Rabbeinu, even though Moshe Rabbeinu knew, but he doesn't want them to make the mistake and then think that he made the mistake. Okay. When I was a kid, they told me like this. It must have been maybe my brother Menachem told me that.
Maybe.
That, yeah, you can reject it in a minute. But they said there really is no such thing as chatzos, because there's before midnight and then there's after midnight. There's no as you divide it up more and more, there is no real midnight. It's a line that doesn't have any substance. So they said, well, actually, there's no such thing as death either. You're either alive or dead. So the way it worked was by Makas B'chairas, they were alive before midnight and they were dead after midnight. So you don't really need an actual midnight. You just need the transition from before to after. Right? They said this from so. Okay. Rav Ashi Yamar, another teretz here. Why is Moshe Rabbeinu saying kachatzos if
That's splitting hairs.
Okay, yeah.
That's like
That's
saying
splitting
you
midnight.
shoot a gun, you never hit anybody because the bullet's got to get halfway there. Before it gets halfway there, it's got to get halfway there. Before that, it's got to get halfway. So it never really leaves the gun. You know?
Wow.
Wow.
In a doctor.
He's
Okay.
a medical doctor.
Another teretz from Rav Ashi. Rav Ashi says, "Bepalga orta the tleisa nagi arbesa havikoi." He's on the night of the 13th. He's talking about the night of the 14th, and he's saying that kachatzos, it's a comparison to tonight. He's telling Pari that just like that, as it is now, tomorrow night. Ka is a comparative, not meaning approximately. It's comparing now at chatzos to tomorrow night at chatzos. V'achikam Moshe liYisrael. And this is what Moshe is saying to the Jewish people. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that Hashem says, L'macha, tomorrow, kachatzos halayla, like tonight, like at midnight, ki ha'idna, like now, ani yetzu b'teich Mitzrayim. I'll go out to amongst Egypt. Okay. And now it says, we quote this pasuk, LeDavid, Shamar nafshi ki chasidani. Some of the say it every day. Guard my soul because I am a chassid. So there's a machlokes here between Levi and Rabbi Yitzchak. What does it mean that he's a chassid? Why exactly is he a chassid? Levi v'Rabbi Yitzchak. Chad amar kach amar David l'fnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. One of them says, this is what David says in front of Hashem, Rabbi Shalala, Master of the world, like Chassid Ani, am I not a Chassid? All the kings of the east and the west, they sleep until 3 hours of the day. And I get up at midnight. That's one interpretation of why David is saying he's a Chassid, and therefore Hashem should guard him. The other interpretation is, David says in front of Hashem, Master of the world, like Chassid Ani, am I not a Chassid? All of them are sitting in groups in their honor and their glory. But as for me, my hands are filled with blood, and with the skin of a fetus, of a shilyan, with the placenta, to make a woman permissible to her husband. Talking about coming from Mesechtes Nida. All of these, David HaMelech was paskening Shilas on all of these issues that we mentioned over there. How is it really a fetus? Is it a male or a female, or how long the woman is tamei, and all of that? And not only this, everything that I do, I ask Mephibosheth, my teacher. And he says to him, Mephibosheth Rabbi, Mephibosheth, my teacher. Yafa Danti, did I judge good? Yafa Chayavti, did I make him chayav properly? Yafa Zakisi, did I vindicate him properly? Yafa Tiarti, was it good that I said that it's tar? Yafa Timesa, was it good that I said it was tamei? And I wasn't ashamed.
Was this the grandson of Shaul?
Yeah. Amar Rabbi Yeshua Braid Ravidi Mikra. What's the that I spoke your words in front of kings, and I wasn't ashamed. Tana le Mephibosheth Shmai, ele Ish Bosheth Shmai. We're starting the Brisa that his name isn't Mephibosheth, his name is Ish Bosheth. Mephibosheth. Why is he called Mephibosheth? Because he would embarrass David HaMelech in halacha. Because David, that's why David has a son, Kilav, that was a great tzaddik. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, like Kilav Shmai, Daniel Shmai. Rabbi Yochanan says his name wasn't really Kilav, his name is Daniel. Why is he called Kilav? The word Kilav has in it Mechalim, that means to embarrass. Pnei Mephibosheth, the face of Mephibosheth, who was considered an Av in halacha. It would Kilav was greater than Mephibosheth. Mephibosheth was the teacher of David. And this is what Shlomo says in his wisdom, B'ni, my son, if your heart is wise, then my heart also rejoices. My son is wise, my heart rejoices. And I'll return to those that taunt me. I'll respond to those that taunt me. That means that Kilav was a response to Mephibosheth. Okay. There's a bunch of. I'm sorry.
Why do you call him Daniel?
Oh.
Nickname.
Daniel, it doesn't explain. Daniel, it sounds like was his actual name, and in Divrei Hayamim, sometimes we get different names for people in Tanakh. So what the Gemara is doing is saying his name is Daniel. So why is he called Kilav? So no, he's called Kilav because he was Mechal, because he would embarrass Mephibosheth. There's a few points over here. One point is that in Siman Kuf Peches, the Bach has a claim there that if someone shows the Rav a stain and it's wet, it's like a fresh, recent stain, so you have to wait till it dries out because it could be the colors can change. And they argue on the Bach. The Shachantaz argue on the Bach and say it's not necessary. And over there, the Teres Shlomo also says that we have a raya from David HaMelech that you don't have to wait till it dries. Why? So here it says Yadim Melech Loches Bedam, the raya against the Bach. However, others say it's not a raya because David HaMelech was an expert, and like we saw in the Gemara in in Marnida that there were times, certain time people said, I can't see the blood the way the people before me saw it. They were more expert. I'm not an expert. There's no raya from David HaMelech that what you're allowed to do. Okay.
Why can't it just mean you stained from the blood? Like yes,
Well, meluchlach is
dirty from blood.
means wet. Meluchlach means dirty. And if it was dry, it wouldn't have gotten dirty. So,
We're a couple of degrees removed now from the Mishnah.
yeah.
This is all- this is
What are we
all
doing?
about-
Don't
Yeah.
you just love it?
This is all
Yeah.
about,
David HaMelech.
it started out with telling time
that's
about
it.
external events.
Right.
So far.
And brought up David and now David.
Right.
stories. So it's not really related to the Mishnah.
Right.
Welcome to Brachos.
There's another issue here. There's another issue here, and that is that how does he call his teacher, Mephibosheth? How does he call him by his first name?
His name was Ishmael. That was the next.
So,
I think it's fair that
so okay. So let me take it a step further before we answer
You
that.
think that's fair?
How did it, 1 second. So how's he calling Mephibosheth? How's he calling his teacher by his first name? So so very good. So the it could be that if you add the word Rebbe to it, then it's not a problem, like we find by Yeshua. Adoni Moshe Kloim, right? By Eldad and Medad. It says my master Moshe, Yeshua's teacher. But he says Adoni Moshe. So the problem is though over there he said master first. And what happens over here? Mephibosheth, he was not allowed to say Mephibosheth. And afterwards he says Mephibosheth Rebbe. So he like purifies his words after he says it. So there's different interpretations. One of them is that the Gemara answers this by saying that his name isn't really Mephibosheth. His name is Ishbosheth. That's what Moshe said in Nussin. But another answer possibly is this is not really it's not his real teacher. It's only Rabbi Muvak that you have this issue. We have it in the Rambam also. It says Shema Yisrael Avinu. That's a problem. Shema Yisrael Avinu. Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Remember that he writes that Yaakov Avinu thought that maybe there's some of the sons there's a psul in them. They said no. Shema, listen, our father Israel. How do they call the father by the name?
Well,
Shema Yisrael Avinu.
Even though his name was changed.
Both. That's a problem. How does he say his father's name? Someone told me. I asked this to someone. Huh? That's what they said. They said Shema Yisrael Tati Avinu. Shema Yisrael Avinu. Listen, Yisrael. So, but someone told me that it could be because the Menachem sheyesh Shel Hashem in Cholkum Kavod Rav, that it could be over there. Maybe there was a lack of Amunah and Hashem, so they didn't want to give respect at that moment. Maybe that, I don't know if that's really right. Okay. The David Mikarle Nafshi Chassid. Does David actually call himself a Chassid? But it says in the pasuk, Lulei Manti Liris B'Tov Hashem Beretz Chayim. If not for my belief to see in the good of Hashem in the land of the living, Vitanish Mishmei Rabbi Yosi, and it was taught in the name of Rabbi Yosi, Lama Nakad Al Lulei. Why are there dots on the word Lulei? Amar David Lefnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. David says in front of Hashem, Rabbeinu Shleilah, Muftach Ani Bach, I trust in you. Shatam B'Shalom Sachatev L'Tzadikim L'Asad Lavi, that you're going to give reward to the righteous. But I don't know if I'm going to be one of them. How does he say that he's a chassid? And at the same time, he says, I don't know if I'm going to be one of the people that are going to get the reward. So, but the question is, how does he say chassid on you? That's the problem.
Take it back.
Gemara answers, Shema Yigram Achet, that he doesn't know, he doesn't trust in himself. His actual lifestyle is a chassid, but you never know what tomorrow is going to bring. So Shema Yigram Achet, he doesn't know if he's going to withstand tomorrow's. Maybe tomorrow there'll be a sin. The Rabbi Yaakov Baridi Rami. Rabbi Yaakov Baridi asked the question. In one place it says, Hashem tells Yaakov Avinu that I'm with you and I'll guard you and everywhere you go. And then it says that Yaakov is very afraid when he's coming to meet Esau. So Amar Shema Yigram Achet says maybe after the guarantee he sinned. It's slightly different by Yaakov and by David. By David we're saying that maybe he will sin. He doesn't know if he's going to make it to the world to come. Over here we're saying maybe there was a sin already.
So I say you go with the uniform. There will be. No?
Yeah, but I guess it means maybe it was caused by the sin. What do you think?
It's not a question after the answer. Like it says.
That's an answer. Shema Yigram Achet. That's the answer.
And then it's another question on
Yaakov.
On Yaakov. No?
Right. But I'm just saying that it could be that there's a slight difference in these two Shema Yigram Achet. By David HaMelech, he's worried about the future. By Yaakov, yeah. What does it say? Yeah. I'll comment about it. It's in Pirkei Avos, right? Yes. Right. Yeah, this is associated with this. Okay, Kiddetanya. As we start in the Bais, Adi Avram Hashem, Adi Avram Zukanisa. Until your nation passes Hashem, until it passes this nation that you acquired, which you acquired. Adi Avram Hashem, Zubi Rishayna. Until your nation passes over, this is the first coming into Israel in the days of Yeshua. Adi Avram Zukanisa, until this nation that which you acquired. Zubi Yashnia, this is the second time coming into Israel in the days of Ezra. Here the sages say, really there was supposed to be a miracle coming back to the land of Israel, just like we had miracles going into Israel in the days of Yeshua ben Nun. You see what happened in coming back the second time. We needed political permission, right? But the issue was that they were under Kairish and Dayavish. They had to get explicit permission. It wasn't like they just came in by force and controlled everything. So there was supposed to be a miracle, but it wasn't. Why? Because of the sins. That's why they didn't have it. What were the sins? I think in other places it says the sin was that not everyone came. It says if everyone would have come, it would have been different.
No, the Amalek Don't give food. Don't give food.
And what happened?
He cursed them. So they do not have to be controlled. They don't have a unity by them.
They don't have no rough. They're always spread all over the place.
Is this a tradition from the Yemenites? Okay.
But it's a tradition by each one.
We learned in the Mishnah, we're back Naftali to the Mishnah. Chachamim say that you have until Chatzos to recite Shema. Now, we had two other opinions there. We had Rabbi Eliezer that said Ad Hashmura Yishayna, which is 4 hours, and we had Rabbi Gamliel that says until dawn. We explained the difference between Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Gamliel is it the time that you go to sleep, b'shachtacha, or is it the time that you sleep, b'shachtacha, while you're sleeping? What's the time for Shema? Is it going to sleep or the time of sleeping? Chachamim command tefillah. So who do the Chachamim hold like? If they hold like Rabbi Eliezer, that says that you have the first 4 hours of the night. So let them hold like Rabbi Eliezer. If they hold like Rabbi Gamliel, that says that you have the whole night because b'shachtacha means while you sleep. So let them say like Rabbi Gamliel. What is this? Nishteher, nishteher. You know, they're not this way, not that way. The Gemara says Leilam Rabbi Gamliel really they hold like Rabbi Gamliel. which means that you have the whole night to recite the Shema. Why do they say that you only have until midnight? To distance a person from sin. Why? Tanya was taught in a Brisa. The sages made a fence for their words. The person shouldn't come from the field in the evening. That means come home from work. I'm going to go directly home. I'll have a bite to eat. I'll have a little bit to drink. Probably means wine. I'll have a small sleep. I'll get up, I'll recite the Shema, and I'll daven. Really, what's going to happen with this is, I've experienced this. And he gets overcome by sleep. And he ends up sleeping the whole night. But a person should come home from the field in the evening. He go directly to the shul. If he's accustomed to reading Chumash or Nach, he reads. If he's accustomed to learning Mishnayos.
Did we say that they don't? A couple of days ago, they don't go. They do everything together or something like that, or they don't go to shul at night or something.
Yeah, they would go. We said that it was hard to go after it was dark, so they would daven Ma'ariv early. But this is coming home from work. They would go directly to shul, and they would learn their Mishnayos. Yeah, it could be Rambam, Lishnayos. Shaina v'kaira. Shaina, he does that. V'kaira kriya Shema mispalo. He says Shema and he davens. In a moment, we're going to emphasize that combination there. He eats his bread and he benches. Anyone that violates the words of the sages, chayiv misa. Very strict punishment here. It's chayiv misa. Umar asks, we never say chayiv misa. Over here we say chayiv misa. It says, could be that because of falling asleep, they're going to be more strict. And so they wanted to make it the punishment stricter. It's coming to
friends like this.
it's to exclude from the opinion that holds that Ma'ariv is Rishus. Kamash Milan the Chayva comes to teach us that it's a Chayva. There's a machlekes in the Gemara if Ma'ariv is an obligation or if it's just voluntary. And voluntary doesn't really mean voluntary. It just means that it could be pushed off by anything that else that comes up. It means you're supposed to have a Ma'ariv, but other mitzvahs would take precedence over that. Right. Tell me again. Oh really? I thought Tfilas Arvis means Shemon Esrei. Kriya Shema Shel Arvis. There's two mitzvahs. There's Kriya Shema Shel Arvis, and then there's Tfilas Ma'ariv. So there's a machlekes. We're going to have it later on. Chav Zayin. A machlekes about this. Now, I read in a book from Rabbi Menachem Cohen. We'll learn later. We get to Daf Chav Zayin. But he claims, he has a whole book called Esther's Plea, a very interesting theory, but he says that the machlekes Tfilas Arvis Rishus or Chayva is really a machlekes. It was a political argument then regarding if the second Beis Hamikdash was finished, and if there's another Beis Hamikdash, it's going to be the third Beis Hamikdash, or it could be it was like just like the Hanukkah time, and the war against the professor put me.
Shoot the door.
So it could be that they were going to fight off the Romans, which they did. There was a revolt against the Romans, a revolt, and there was a group that held that it was really still the middle of the second Beis Hamikdash, and they just get rid of the Romans, the second Beis Hamikdash will come back. So the machlekes Tfilas Arvis Rishus, we always knew that Bisman Agolas Arvis is going to be Chayva. And the question is it still Bisman Abayas? So that was a political claim. If you held it to Bisman Abayas, that meant that you were ready to go to battle against the Romans. That was a big deal then, what the position was. So here there's a strong statement that would go Oh yeah. Chavraya Midchan
Right.
Gedala.
So they probably held it.
Yeah, it would probably be them.
Say, talk to them, Chris Davis.
Could be. This could
Sound like
be
a
fit
heritage.
into a lot of different things, but there's a strict opinion here that says that this chiyuv misa, because someone could say maybe tefillas arvis is rishus. That would mean that they were from the ones that were going to fight off the Romans, according to that interpretation. The Kamash Malan that it's chayva, it is exile, and it's a time for Ma'ariv. We actually have to recite Ma'ariv. Okay. We're going to go back and discuss something that we mentioned in this brisa. Regarding eating before Ma'ariv, so the Magen Avraham allows you to have a taste of food before Ma'ariv. That it's even though it says Eichel Kima, I'm going to eat a drop, and it says, that's a problem, but it is brought down that you can eat a drop. It just means that you're not supposed to eat a meal.
Yes,
right.
yes.
All right. I wrote down on the side. I don't know from when I but that's Rabbi Kivega and the Mishnah Sagis on the Magen Avraham. Probably based on this Gemara. Okay, Amar, we learned that he recites the Shema and then he davens. Messiah Leila Rabbi Yechanan. This is a proof to Rabbi Yechanan because we had a machlekes. We mentioned this in the first Taisvis on the Masechta. The Amar Rabbi Yechanan says, "Izeu ben Olam haba." Who is someone that's a member of the world to come? This is someone that says Gal Yisrael, says the brachos of Kriya Shema, and then he davens Ma'ariv immediately. You see, we said he recites the Shema u'mispalo. That means he says the Shema with the brachos, and then he davens Ma'ariv. Rabbi Shua Levi says no. Tfilas be'emtza tiknum. You say Shachris, you say Shema, Shemon Esrei, and in Ma'ariv you say Shemon Esrei and then the Shema. The tefillas, the Shemon Esreis are in the center, like Havayas Be'emtza, like Rabbeinu Tam. So it's Rabbi Shua ben Levi says different, but this brisa is a raya to Rabbi Yechanan. Rabbi Yechanan and Rabbi Shua ben Levi are Amarayim, and the brisa supports Rabbi Yechanan. The Ma'ikam Iflagi, what's the machlekes? Iba Yasei Makra, Iba Yasei Masvara. Could be the gears are supposed to be the opposite. It's if you want to say that it's a pasuk, if you want to say that it's logical. Iba Yasei Masvara, the gears should be the opposite. Okay, if you want to say that it's logical, the Rabbi Yechanan Savar Gula Miyorta Nami Habi. What's the problem? Geula, the redemption from Egypt, was at night as well. When did they actually leave Egypt? They left Egypt in the morning, but they were already redeemed from Egypt at night. So therefore, at night, you have to do Smichas Geula Tefillah. You have to say Gal Yisrael, and then Shemon Esrei. Rashi here says that we're learning this from chapter 19 and 20 in Tehillim. Chapter 19 ends with Yul Ratzon Imri Frive, Hashem Turi B'Gayali. Hashem is my redeemer, my rock and my stronghold and my redeemer. And then right away say Yancha Hashem B'Yom Tzara in chapter 20. See, that is Smichas Geula L'Tefillah.
So who is the person that switched it around?
Rabbi Shua ben Levi. Rabbi Shua ben Levi says you do it the other way by night. There is Rashi quotes a very interesting Yerushalmi. He says that someone that doesn't do this, it's like he knocks on the door of the king and then he runs away when the king answers the door. So once you already said all those praises about that Hashem redeemed, then state your request. You have to be Seimach Gula L'Tefillah. I think in Avodah what it means is, what others say is that Geula L'Tefillah means that you have to recognize you're a slave of Hashem. That's Hashem redeemed us from slavery and made us slaves of Hashem. Where Kili B'nei Yisrael Avadim, and then you begin to daven. It's not just a friendly, let me use the terms, just spiritual. No, there's actually there's the Geula. You have to accept Hashem's rule, and then you do the tefillah. So that's Rabbi Yechanan says this is by night as well. Rabbi Shua ben Levi Savar Kivan D'Leihavel Mitzafra. Look, they let you go, but the actual redemption was only in the morning. So le'av gula malaisa at night. That wasn't a good gula. So therefore, you don't have to be saying gula tefillah at night. If you say makra, if you want, you can say it's a pasuk. Ishnei mikra chadarsha. They've learned it from the same pasuk. Tiksir b'shach tov kumecha. When you lay down and when you get up. Rabbi Yochanan savar makish shchiva lakima. Rabbi Yochanan says, look, when you wake up in the morning, makima kriya shema v'achach tefillah. Just like in the morning, first you recite the Shema, and then you say Shemon Esrei. Also, when you lay down, not kriya shema v'achach tefillah, you recite Shema and then Shemon Esrei. So Ben Levi savar, no. Makish shchiva lakima, you have to compare it differently. You compare laying down to getting up. Makima kriya shema samach l'mitasa. Just like when you wake up, the closest thing to your bed is kriya shema, and then comes tefillah. Af shchiva nami, also when you lay down, the closest thing to your bed is kriya shema samach l'mitasa, is kriya shema next to the bed. The Gemara has a question here. I don't want to rush it, but I do want to point out that if you take a look at this Taisus Tam Rabbi Yochanan Ezer ben Elam Abba, he quotes a bit of a contradiction in Psak, because let me wait for that. For that we'll do tomorrow. We'll go a drop further. Masa Mar Brei de Ravina. Mar Brei de Ravina has a question. It says, "Be'erev mavarich shtayim lefaner shtayim lachra." It says in the evening you say 2 brachas after Shema, Gol Yisrael, and Hashkivenu. V'yamrit by Lismaich. And if you say like Rabbi Yochanan that you have to have Gol Yisrael and then Shemon Esrei, like Kasamach Gula Tefillah. You didn't have Gol Yisrael next to the Boilamei Marshkivenu because you're saying the second bracha. In the morning you don't do that. You finish Gol Yisrael and you start Shemon Esrei. To Amri they answer, even the Tekina Rabbanan Ashkivenu, because they instituted Ashkivenu, once it's instituted, Kigula Richte Damya. That is like a long redemption. How does that become a long redemption? If you don't say so, in the morning you're also not doing it. Why? What's the significance of the site? The main question here is Hashem Sefasei Tiftach. You don't right away start Shemon Esrei. You give an introduction to Shemon Esrei. You're not doing Smichas Gula Tefillah. The Gemara answers that Ela Hasam keeping the Tekin Rabbanan Lameim Hashem Sefasei Tiftach Ketfilah Richte Damya. Hashem Sefasei Tiftach is a long tefillah. It's an extension of Shemon Esrei. So therefore, Gol Yisrael is extended directly. Gol Yisrael goes directly into the extension of Shemon Esrei. So Hanami here also, given the Tekin Rabban Lameimar Ashkivenu, because they instituted to say Ashkivenu, so Kegula Richtadami, it's like a long Gula. Tomorrow we'll go through this contradiction and the significance of this halachically, what it means. Tell me again. Oh, really? Daniel is on.
It's like $900. They sell you the iPads and the full shots.
Did you mention this?